This wasn't just another match on the calendar. It felt bigger from the very beginning. There was tension in the air, a sense that something important was about to unfold. On one side stood Carlos Alcaraz, the world #1, a player who was already crossed the line from rising star to dominant force. On the other side was Sebastian Korda, a player many consider dangerous but often underrated. Someone who can quietly build momentum and suddenly take control of a match without warning. Everything about the setting made it more intense. The Miami Open crowd, known for its energy and unpredictability, created the perfect backdrop for a clash like this. It wasn't just about winning. It was about proving something. For Alcaraz, it was about maintaining his dominance. For Korda, it was about breaking through and showing he belongs at the very top. Coming into the match, Korda was not an easy opponent. He had been playing some of the best tennis of his career. His timing was sharp, his movement looked effortless, and his ability to take the ball early made him extremely dangerous. He didn't just hit the ball well. He controlled the rhythm of rallies in a way that made even top players uncomfortable. But Alcaraz is not like most players. From the first few points, he showed exactly why he sits at the top of the rankings. His heavy topspin forehands pushed Korda back. His drop shots pulled him forward, and his transitions to the net were quick and decisive. It felt like he was controlling every situation, adjusting in real time, always one step ahead. What makes Alcaraz special isn't just his skill, it's how quickly he solves problems. If something isn't working, he finds a way to fix it within a few points. That's what has made him so dominant. That's why so many expected him to continue his run and possibly take another title. But this match didn't follow that script. For the first time in a while, there was something slightly off. Not dramatically, but just enough to notice. His timing wasn't perfect. His decisions were delayed by fractions of a second, and at this level, that's all it takes. Those tiny hesitations started to open doors, and Korda was ready to walk through them. Korda sensed it early. He stepped onto the court with belief, but more importantly, with a clear plan. Instead of trying to overpower Alcaraz, he stayed controlled. He focused on consistency, avoided unnecessary risks, and waited for the right moments to attack. It wasn't about hitting harder. It was about playing smarter. Even when things got tense, Korda didn't panic. He found himself in difficult situations, moments where the match could have slipped away. But he stayed composed. Instead of forcing shots, he trusted his game. That patience became one of the biggest differences in the match. There was a key idea behind his approach. Rather than try and play perfect tennis, he focused on playing average in terms of shot control. That didn't mean playing safe. It meant not overdoing things. No unnecessary risks. No wild attempts to hit winners out of nowhere. Just solid, aggressive tennis with purpose. At the same time, he remained aggressive in the right way. His serve was consistent. His positioning was sharp, and he made sure to take time away from Alcaraz whenever possible. He didn't allow the world #1 to settle into his rhythm. And that's where the balance shifted. Usually, it's Alcaraz who dictates everything on court. He decides the pace, the direction, and the outcome of rallies. But this time, he found himself reacting more than creating. That subtle shift changed everything. When a player like Alcaraz is pushed into that position, even slightly, it creates opportunity. Korda took that opportunity. He controlled the tempo, disrupted the flow, and slowly started to take ownership of the match. It wasn't about one big moment. It was about a series of small, smart decisions that added up over time. By the end of this phase of the match, one thing had become clear. This was no longer just a test for Korda. It had turned into a real challenge for Alcaraz. And for the first time in a while, the world #1 looked human. The biggest shift in this match came down to one simple thing: control. Normally, Carlos Alcaraz is the one who dictates everything on the court. He chooses when to accelerate, when to slow things down, when to pull off a drop shot, and when to turn defense into attack in a split second. But this time, that control started slipping away. Instead of creating opportunities, he found himself reacting. Instead of forcing Korda into uncomfortable positions, he was the one being pushed out of rhythm. And when a player of his level is forced into that position, even briefly, it changes the entire dynamic of the match. Korda didn't waste that opening. He stepped in with confidence, playing with a clear understanding of what he needed to do. He kept his aggression controlled, avoided unnecessary mistakes, and most importantly, stayed mentally locked in. Even when the match became stressful, he didn't lose his focus. That composure allowed him to handle the pressure moments far better than expected. After the match, Korda admitted that it wasn't easy. He found himself in difficult situations, moments where things could have gone wrong. But instead of collapsing, he kept pushing forward. He stayed within himself, trusted his game, and refused to overplay. That mindset became the foundation of a performance. What made his approach even more effective was his discipline. Against top players, many competitors try to do too much. They go for bigger shots, take unnecessary risks, and end up making errors. Korda did the opposite. He simplified his game. He focused on solid ball control, smart aggression, and consistent pressure. At the same time, he knew he couldn't just play safe against someone like Alcaraz. So he picked his moments carefully. When the opportunity came, he attacked. When it didn't, he stayed patient. That balance between aggression and control made him extremely difficult to handle. On the other side, Alcaraz still showed flashes of brilliance. His movement remained explosive, his shot-making still dangerous, and his fighting spirit never disappeared. There were moments where it looked like he might turn the match around completely, and in some parts, he actually did. There was a stretch where he raised his level, winning multiple points in a row, putting Korda under pressure again. It was the kind of response you expect from a champion. For a moment, it felt like the match was swinging back in his favor. But closing out moments are different. They carry a different kind of pressure. Korda had already experienced that tension earlier in the match when he struggled to finish a set. He admitted that closing out matches is one of the hardest things to do in tennis. Your mind starts racing, the stakes feel heavier, and even simple decisions become more complicated. But this time, he handled it better. When the final moments came, he stayed composed. His serve became more reliable, his decisions more precise, and his confidence stronger. Instead of letting the pressure control him, he controlled the pressure. Alcaraz, meanwhile, acknowledged the reality of the situation. He recognized that Korda played better in the key moments. There were critical points where he had chances but couldn't convert them. Break points, advantage moments, tight rallies. These are the moments that decided the match. And in those moments, Korda was sharper. What's interesting is how Alcaraz viewed the match afterward. He didn't see it as a complete failure. In fact, he believed he played a good match overall. But at this level, good isn't always enough. When margins are so small, even a slight drop in execution can make the difference between winning and losing. He also pointed out something important about being at the top. When you're the world #1, every opponent plays with less pressure against you. They feel like they have nothing to lose and everything to gain. That freedom allows them to take risks, play more aggressively, and perform above their usual level. And that's exactly what happened here. Korda played without fear. He played with belief. And he played with a clear plan. For Alcaraz, this match highlighted something deeper. It wasn't just about one loss. It was about the constant challenge of staying ahead in a sport where everyone is studying you, analyzing your patterns, and looking for ways to break your rhythm. The gap is still there. He's still one of the best. But matches like this show that the gap is closing, even if only slightly. And at the highest level, that's all it takes. Now the focus shifts to what this match really means going forward. Because for a player like Carlos Alcaraz, a loss is never just a result. It's information. It's feedback. It's a moment that forces reflection. The first thing this kind of match demands is a mental reset. Losses at the top level can go in two directions. They can create doubt, slow down confidence, and stay in your mind longer than they should. Or they can sharpen your focus, push you to improve, and unlock another level in your game. If there's one thing we've learned about Alcaraz, it's that he usually chooses the second path. Time and time again, he has shown that setbacks don't break him, they refine him. They force him to look deeper into his game, to identify small weaknesses, and to come back stronger. This match will likely be no different. But beyond the mental side, there are clear tactical lessons here. Korda didn't overpower him. He didn't dominate with raw strength. Instead, he disrupted the rhythm. He controlled the tempo. He forced Alcaraz into uncomfortable positions and made him play shots he didn't want to play. That approach worked. And now, every player on tour is watching closely, because when one player finds a way, others try to copy it. This means Alcaraz will need to adapt, not with a complete overhaul, because his game is already one of the most complete in the world, but with small, smart adjustments, better point construction, more patience in rallies, smarter shot selection when opponents refuse to give him pace. It's about adding layers, not changing identity. There's also the physical side to consider. The tennis calendar is relentless. Week after week, tournament after tournament, there's very little time to reset. And Alcaraz has been right in the middle of it all, going deep in events, carrying expectations, and deal with the pressure of being the face of the next generation. Even the best players in history go through small dips, not dramatic collapses, but slight changes in timing, energy, and sharpness. This match could simply be one of those moments where everything was just a few percent off. And at this level, a few percent is everything. What makes this situation interesting is that it might actually benefit him. When you're winning constantly, small flaws stay hidden. Success can cover weaknesses. But a loss like this exposes everything. It forces you to see what needs improvement. And for a young player with his mindset, that's valuable. History shows that every great player goes through phases like this. Moments where opponents start believing they can win. Moments where matches become tighter, more competitive, and less predictable. The real difference between great players and all-time legends is how they respond in these situations. Do they adjust? Do they evolve? Do they come back stronger? With Alcaraz, all signs point to yes. His game already combines power, speed, touch, creativity, and variety in a way that very few players can match at his age. More importantly, his mindset embraces challenges instead of avoiding them. He doesn't run from difficult moments. He learns from them. That's what makes this loss feel less like a setback and more like a step in the process. On the other side, this victory means everything for Sebastian Korda. This wasn't just a win. It was a statement, a breakthrough, proof that he can compete with and beat the very best. It validates the work he's been putting in, the adjustments he's been making, and the belief he's been building. He spoke about commitment and belief, about controlling what he could control. That mindset translated perfectly onto the court. He didn't try to be someone else. He didn't try to outshine Alcaraz with flashy shots. He trusted his own game, and it paid off. This kind of win can change a player's career. It builds confidence, shifts perception, and creates momentum that can carry into future tournaments. It shows that he doesn't just belong at this level, he can thrive in it. As for what comes next, Alcaraz has already made it clear. His focus is on resetting, taking a few days off, spending time with family, recharging mentally and physically before returning to competition, especially with the clay season approaching. That reset could be crucial, because the true measure of a champion isn't how they perform when everything is going perfectly. It's how they respond when things don't. And now, all eyes will be on his response.